Yeah. People can kind of unfollow you very quickly and anonymously if like what you post is just annoying and not cool. Where like on Facebook, you're directly connected, right? It's a two-way street, so it makes it like, whatever. You get it.
You guys, we're going to go live.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to share this thing though. So
No, totally. Yeah, let's go live, man.
3, 2, 1.
Are we Action Jackson? Oh.
Hope it works.
Live and...
Oh shit, eh?
We're going.
You're telling me that we are Action Jackson, Nicholas.
We're Action Jackson.
All right, good to know. So all the people out there, this is episode 1, which will no doubt be a terrible episode of a podcast, which will no doubt become a legendary podcast, starting right here in Fredericton. What is the name of the podcast, Phil?
That's a good question, man.
What do you think the name of the podcast should be?
Well, what are we going to do on it? Is a big question. Like, what do you want to do?
I want to talk.
That's a good start. I think that we should bring in, because we know some cool people. Mm-hmm. So I think that like
you know some cool people. I know some people,
and I almost feel like you should interview the people that I know, and I should interview the people that you know.
Completely agree with that.
And I can like load you with questions, so you kind of basically know where to go.
I get it.
But I do think that the name, just to go back to your earlier point before we went live, we are sweet. So I do think that it should be kind of around like one thing that I like about podcasts.
Yeah,
is it forces you to verbalize what you're thinking.
Right.
So, like, I have opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You do.
Do you? Okay. Oh, good. Check.
And sometimes I just have them and I don't know where they come from.
Right.
But when I talk about it, I need to actually think and say, oh, to get from point A to point B and how I feel, this is what happened.
There needs to be a justification and a substantiation, and you're implicitly aware that people are watching and judging.
Yeah.
So you better have a good one.
And if I'm wrong,
yeah,
they're going to hold me accountable.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's going to be the best part of the podcast. So just to give everyone at home a little bit of a thing, we're going to start a podcast. It's going to be a great podcast. We're going to work out some of the kinks. You guys are going to, no doubt write some hate mail and some good stuff too, and we'll test and adjust and get better. But where we're coming from, Phil and I, very different backgrounds, but both of us very much creators. Phil is a great entrepreneur here in town. His company is called Hotspot, and they are the ones who have, in my opinion, the greatest mobile parking app, and the first, or one of the first, to make it so that you could actually pay for parking using your phone. I use it every single day. And they're expanding into other things with transit and that. But, Phil's mission in life is to make your life easier and more convenient around everything transport. And it's a noble mission. And it's, not that easy and actually filled with...
Pun.
Yeah. He's making your life easy, but it's hard for him. It's filled with a lot of trials and tribulations and a lot of really interesting behind-the-scenes stuff. Like kind of like the show Silicon Valley, but how difficult it actually can be to have a company that's such a simple concept, right? Because it's a really simple concept in theory. It's like you're gonna have an app, everyone's gonna download the app.
Totally.
Billion dollars, right? Young money, cash money, billionaires, right?
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. You tell me. Is in your experience, is that how it works?
No.
Is it how it's gonna work one day?
Hopefully.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Let me do you.
Sure.
Okay, so Jeff Alpa Custom, or JAC, as the bros know him, his job is, in my opinion, is to take guys like me who need to look good because we're going to events, we're doing things that matter, and need to stand out a little bit because, everybody shows up wearing a blue shirt. Well, great. You know what I mean? You're just another guy. I literally seen like 6 software developers walking down the road on the way here, and they were all wearing the same black coat. It's like, guys, come on. So, like, his job...
You need something cooler in the background.
His job is to make you stand out. And he does a good job of that. So when I go see Jeff, and basically I say, look, dress me. Make me look good, which works good and bad because first off, I don't have to think about it, which is really important to me because I'm doing other stuff. And second off, I'm really doing it because I want to look good for other people. Like, that's good manners. Is if you dress well,
Sign of respect.
you show up. You know, you want to look good.
Usually.
So anyway, Jeff's my guy in Fredericton. Takes care of that. Does a great job. But he's got bigger ambitions than myself for sure, and he's going to do really well.
That's not totally true. So,
Nice.
I'm yes, Freedom Podcast.
I can't.
What do you think the name should be? You have to think of something right now.
I was thinking like Northern Reflections or something like, you know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's taken.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, is
What's
that
the other
taken?
one?
I feel
Northern Reflections, like isn't that like a big corporate
Are
like?
we gonna Google it?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to.
Or like, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like East Down and Bound, but that one's taken. I looked.
Yeah. They're all taken. I think it should be straight out of Fredericton.
Really?
Because
well, what if we move? What if I get another office in another city, hopefully, and I have to go live there half time?
I think we'll always be Frederictonians, no matter how much I think that'd be a good sign,
What if we
and good for
travel?
Frederictonians if some of the episodes were, in an ivory tower in New York City one day, right?
sure.
I think that would be a like a bragging point, like something that everyone could be proud of,
Okay, that's fair.
and
Okay.
I think it would be cool.
Can we call it Freddy Beach then?
Yes, we can,
Let's call it that. Okay.
and that's how deals get done, people.
Good. Okay, so one thing I'm going to say though
Yeah,
is I'm committing right now
yeah.
to doing 200 episodes
Okay.
because
We just signed Philly Minaj on for 200 episodes.
And-
I'm a per episode guy, all right? So we'll see what the royalties are on this. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
okay, the reason is 50 Cent.
Okay.
Okay.
The reason that he's doing 200 episodes is because of 50 Cent.
No.
You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
totally. So
Please.
anyway, 50 Cent, this isn't verbatim, okay? 50 Cent has a quote. It's like something like, you don't build something because it's what you want to see. You build something because that's what people want.
Okay.
And right now,
I completely disagree, but carry on.
we can debate that. Like, there's visionaries,
Right.
and then there's people that respond to the market.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, right now, we're not going to do a great job. We know that. Mm-hmm. But if we can't figure it out in 200 episodes, we should stop.
Oh, 100%.
But if we can't figure it out in 200 episodes, we also have much bigger problems.
I'm hoping it's going to take us 5, okay? But, 200's good.
All right, what are we watching here?
We got. I don't know. I think we have a classic here, and no one should have to ask what's being watched right now. I'm going to stand very strongly on that. So, Phil, why start a podcast? Is it you went to the substantiation thing and all that? Is there anything else, or is that kind of like?
Well, that matters, right?
Oh, of course it does.
I'm growing.
No, not discounting.
You're growing.
Yeah.
The people that listen to podcasts, I do think it helps them grow. The big thing for me is like, I'm a person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a person. Like, I run a company, and that company is very deeply woven in who I am. But I'm also a person. And there's things that I don't know. There's things that I don't encounter in my business. And I really think of it as like new age storytelling. Because nowadays we don't sit around the fire with our grandparents and listen to how they came up. We just don't. We're separated, travel and stuff like that. But this is a good opportunity for us to bring in people that we respect and say, like, how did you get there? To listen rather than speak. Yeah. And I speak way too much.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna do some speaking now. I personally think I'll probably do a little bit of speaking. For me, the podcast is 2 things. One, I'm hoping to have something where people can write in a lot and we can connect directly with people
cool.
from all over the world. Whether they end up liking the podcast or they like the shirts or whatever it is, and it's a way that we can live direct respond to that kind of thing, which I think is just fun and brings everyone together. And right now we're just, you're a transit guy, I'm a shirt guy, but in the future we could be pretty big deals, and people are going to want to get at us, and this is going to give them that way. Another thing, I think podcasts are the future. A lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people think podcasts have plateaued. People have been listening to podcasts for 10 years. I completely disagree with that thinking.
The one thing that got me, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
I just need to get this out, is how many people friggin' hated on this. They're like, yeah, you're never, like, don't even bother. Like, there's so many people doing that. There's so many people doing that. I'm like, guys, do you know Robert Simmons' story? Do you know, like, Isaac's Way's story?
I do know those stories. But
Well, I'm naming one, so like these are really cool. Like Sean Dunbar's story over at Picaroons. Like
that's
cool
why
stuff.
it needs to be called Freddy Beach, because it's going to start with great stories in this place right here that I guarantee you people are interested in.
Of course.
I guarantee you they're more interested than what's picked up in the local news and the daily news. And that's why I do think podcasting is the future, because now there's a couple ways you can look at it. One is what I would consider more the negative way, where there's so many different media outlets you could listen to, and you can kind of only listen to the people who agree with you, and you hear about that with the echo chamber effect in social media. I don't really know a lot about that, and that's its own thing. But I think with podcasting, what you can do is hear things a little bit more directly from the source. And I think people are interested in that.
Totally.
Right? Like if someone's like, I'm an entrepreneur in Fredericton. I have no access to any other entrepreneurs in Fredericton. Right?
We're busy. Like we are very busy.
Yeah, you could listen to this podcast for 20, 25 minutes a week, right?
The amount of effort we had to do to carve out an hour or 30 minutes to do this was intense.
Right. So, I think like the fact that podcasts can be so niche and so specific and people can find exactly what they want. To me, podcasting is like, going to London, England, where I'm like, okay, I want Italian food that has an Indian twist, but I want all the sauces to be from, Korea. Like in a place like that, you can find stuff like that, right? Podcasting's like that. You can find personalities that suit you exactly and listen to them. I also think, everyone and their sister's got a podcast, right? I mean, an exaggeration, sure, right? But everyone and their sister has some sort of a podcast. So there's a lot of people with a podcast where they have like 2,000 listeners, right? Relatively small amount compared to what you need for a TV show to be considered successful, and then I could stay on the air and stuff like that. I want to bring a lot of people on here who have podcasts that are interesting.
Yeah, totally.
And then I want to go on their podcast, and I want to tell my story to their audience, and I want someone to think, man, that's really cool. I should get a custom Dangerous Dress shirt.
That's just how that works.
Very self-serving, but I'm going to throw that out there and admit that. And I think you should always admit when you have a dog in a fight.
Well, the thing is, and I hope I'm being picked up, is the thing is, like, it's nothing wrong with making money. That's how we're all going to... That's, like, literally the only way that we can do stuff like this is when we make money so that we can actually get more free time to experiment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're in the age of hobbies. Like, no one has a full-time job, really, anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's just got hobbies that they do. Nicholas over there, man in our tech, right? Yeah. He's just doing this because this is something interesting to him. And
this is what I love.
Yeah.
I live and breathe.
Yeah.
He set up a podcast. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. He does have a full-time job, though.
Anyway. But, like... And I think that's important. I really do.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really good for your business personally, because I think like the hotspot thing is so awesome. And it's funny, people come to my store to get, Dangerous Dress shirts and get measured up. And, we spend quite a bit of time. So they got to feed the meter if they're old school, or
we're all connected.
They use hotspot, right? Yeah. Like everyone uses hotspot when they come in the store, and it always comes up. I'm like, hey, did you feed the meter, or do you need me to hotspot your car for you, right?
Thanks, man. You're doing our marketing.
Oh, all the time.
Salesman.
And a lot of people are like, oh, buddy, no, I've already hotspotted. Of course I have hotspot, right? People don't even come to see that much, and people absolutely rave about it, right? And then there's people who are like, what are you talking about? Hotspot? Like, you've never heard of it before, right? And I think that, you guys have great branding and marketing, that it's very consistent and all that stuff. But I honestly think that people would take the $2 a month plunge if they knew Phil a bit and realized, there was a local kid behind what,
well, there's
what's a pretty phenomenal technological innovation, really.
Yeah, people are happy with it.
Yeah.
What it is, and we're a little different than some of our competitors. Our marketing is 100% towards the end customer. Mm-hmm. So rather than tell you how great we are, like, we don't do that. We just use user reviews. So all of our marketing is actually 100% user review.
Yeah.
So that's what we share. We're like, here's what people are saying about us. Here's the positive stuff. But what is exciting, the segues, is Jeff Alpaugh in front of me today is going to be on the Dragon's Den 2 weeks from now. So, Jeff, tell me about that.
I'm really excited about it. So we're going on Dragon's Den, and the one thing that's really cool that I don't think I've told you on purpose,
so
I wanted to bring it up here.
Nice,
yeah. well, I'm not going to be talking to Phil from now on ever unless it's on this show. So that everything's very, we're not actors, right?
You have to do this more often.
It's very rehashed if we're like, let's try to have a natural conversation, right?
Yeah.
You can even tell right now it's not like a totally...
Can't get a text back. That explains it.
Yeah, exactly. No, anyone listening now knows I'm not a great texter. Okay? That's not my thing. So one thing that's really cool, actually, that I was really hoping to share with everybody on this is, so... I've watched every episode from the last 2 seasons, of course, doing my research. I've probably
That's
seen...
good for you. You need to do that stuff.
Yeah, I've probably seen about half the episodes.
Are you watching
total.
the losers as well as the winners?
Of course.
Okay.
No, when I say like the episode, I mean like the whole episode. So like, there would be 4 or 5
That's good, man.
pitches per thing. But the reason the latest 2 seasons are the most important because those are the same dragons who I'll be pitching in front
You got
of.
to do the work, right? Like,
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to take the notes. And that I'll bring something up on that point about doing the work. But what's really cool, I've also seen, I believe, every single pitch from any business that's been on the show from New Brunswick.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and every single one of them has actually done, for the most part, I would say phenomenal. Not just good, but like phenomenal. Yes.
My grandfather says, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
It's like New York.
Because there's
Totally.
nothing. Hold on. Okay, hold on. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere because there's nothing here. It's like
100%.
blood from a stone.
100%. Yeah, no, if you can squeeze that blood out of that stone, it will certainly be
So, yeah,
easier
New York.
with a larger population. We're already at the end of the movie. That's crazy.
No, that was just the best scene.
Yeah.
How are we doing for time? Oh, okay.
The thing is, what's really cool is quite a few New Brunswick entrepreneurs who've been on the show actually called me, like reached out to me when the announcement was in, the paper and a few other places and that. People actually reached out to me and they're like, hey, like, are you Jeff Dangerous Shirts? I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're like, on this guy. And I'm like, oh, it's crazy because I like seen your pitch and whatever, right? And they're like, yeah, like, would you like if I kind of just talk to you a little bit about the experience, right? And, classic New Brunswick, like, no one's like, get your pen out because I'm going to drop some knowledge on you, right? Everyone's like, hey, would you just like, me to tell you the experience? I'm like, please, right?
Seriously.
There's almost this like club.
That's cool, man.
I want to call it like a fraternity, but it's not it's not exclusive to males, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like a little club of New Brunswick entrepreneurs who've been on the show and like help each other out. So, I got a lot of firsthand experience of like what it's like even just traveling there, and then what it's like when you go to the CBC building, what it feels like, what it looks like. What it smells like, what it sounds like. One thing that was really cool, actually, is I was talking to this guy named Mike Holland, who I'm sure will have at the show at some point. His company's called The Resourceful Redneck, and really cool. And they, online, they've got almost they have a lot of actual products for outdoorsmen and that, like everything from like bow and arrows to just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But they've got a bit of an online community around sort of everything being an outdoorsman in New Brunswick.
Okay.
Like totally badass, right? Really, and just a really cool guy. And just crushed the Dan Beyond. So I'm telling you, I'm like, I'm obviously nervous as heck, right? I'm just scared because I know that, doing the audition and getting picked up to go on the show, all that really means is, you're in the top or the bottom, but you're not in the middle.
Right.
Because, like, the middle doesn't make TV.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a good chance you're down here, right? There's actually a 1 in 2 chance that you're down here.
Should mix it up.
And it's just, like, they're going to just eat you alive on the show, right? And that's obviously terrifying, right? I'd rather... don't get me wrong. I'd rather be on national television in a positive light. But if I had to choose negative light or no light, we'd still do it. There's no kill like overkill. You got to get on it. So
what's your plan? Like, how are you, like, so based off, so you've watched every show, which is research.
Right.
It's the only time you watch TV, you get away with it, and be like, I'm helping.
Totally. All day.
Good job to you. Okay, you've talked to these guys.
Yeah.
Did you talk to both the people that won and didn't get deals?
I don't know if I've talked to anyone who didn't get a deal, and that's a good point. So I should probably do that. I've talked to a significant amount of people who have gotten a deal.
Because they'd be like, yeah, I was on. Yeah, you should.
Oh, of course, yeah, they'd be a little bit more likely to call for sure. But what I want to say is I was like, I'm super nervous or whatever, and he said the same thing. He's like, honestly, like, you get very nervous. Like, I'm incredibly nervous right now. He's like, the week before, 2 weeks before, he's like, the day before, you're like, you can't sleep. It's like, oh my God, right? And then you get there, and you're nervous, and you're in this waiting room, there's all these other guys with their companies, and he said he's like, you can tell right away the hammerheads there, the guys who are going to get eaten alive, are the ones who are not nervous.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to tell you. I thought you'd think that was an interesting knowledge bomb there. So here's the thing. He's like, and you can't believe it, right? Because you talk, like we all talk to lots of people. You can't believe it, but these people are out there. These people who like the only person they've run the idea by is their mom. And they're like, we're ready for Dragon's Den.
I seen that, man. Like,
yeah.
There's a huge issue.
My producer, actually, so we talk to a television producer every week or 2 weeks leading up and just helps us out. And she's amazing, and it's really funny because like,
what's her name? Like, or can we do that? Can we share?
Yeah, her name is Bernice. And
so if anyone's trying to get on Dragon's Den, look for Bernice.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see how I do, right? But anyway, so she, some of the questions she asked, I'm like, you're kind of like, yeah, I know. Like, I know the layout of the stage. Like, I've seen the show 1,000 times. I get the set changes, but there's always stairs. There's a door in the back. Like, you enter stairs, you exit this way. Like, I know everything, right? I know where to be, where to stand. And it was funny. I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I've seen every episode in the last 2. I may have seen every episode ever, but I've seen at least one of every 2. And she was like, oh, like, super fan. I'm like, well, I am, but I'm like, why would you want to go on the show without knowing anything about it?
Unprepared.
Imagine if they're like the Dragon's Den, and no matter what they just made fun of you, there'd still be people going on it. Like, because people just don't do any research.
That's the best ad you can get.
But imagine if it was different or it was bad. Like, some people would just go on without doing any research or watching a television program. And so having the like sort of situational awareness to realize like you have weaknesses and there's obviously problems in your business. If there was absolutely no problems, why would you be going on the Dragon's Den? Totally. You'd be like, yeah, I'm just diving in my pool of money all day. Like, same thing I do every day, right?
Scrooge McDuck.
Right? So, yeah. So one thing we did to prepare that I thought was really good, and we're going to kind of repeat this process throughout the weekend and before, is there was a group of MBA students at UNB who did their culminating project on us and our company and like where we're at and recommendations going forward. And it was really cool.
Be honest. Was it useful?
It was super useful.
I didn't do it one time. I wasn't sure.
Super useful. It was a lot more useful than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be like pretty good, pretty useful. A couple good tips and tricks. Just
so people know, at UMB there's an activator program. And what the activate? Can you bring up the activator program? Okay, this is a plug for UMB. I did this. I went to San Francisco or somewhere. It was good. But the big thing
is, what is this? The government
anyway, so
this guy doesn't know any classics. Like, how do you even need to ask?
I don't know, man. The big thing is with the activator.
Can I get it? Am I right?
All right.
Am I right?
The big thing is with the I'm doing it. I'm just going. Like, I don't watch. I don't know. You guys with the RB. You're watching every RB movie.
It's the one that like everyone should know.
Yeah, Private Pile is his name. Carry on.
First name basis. Oh yeah. Private Pile.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Karen runs. Is Karen still running? Yeah, Karen runs IBEC, UMB Activator Program. They match up the engineers, which I was, with the MBA students, and then they work on a company and try to develop a business plan for it. I did it. And I did it in my team. I had one really good guy. His name was Joe. And if he's watching this, I had one really good guy.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them were just hit or miss. So I didn't do it because I had a bad experience. But I was on the other side.
Right.
But I guess, could you tell me about your experience?
So one, met with them a few times. And the first time was just like me on send, right? Like, this is everything. This is good, bad, ugly, right?
So what were they trying to do for you?
Well, a couple things. One, they did give us a lot of sort of immediately actionable points, as in, here's some stuff you could be looking into or working on with your shipping. Here's some great ways to raise money that I didn't know at all, right? One was just like so simple and so genius. I was like, amazing kind of thing, right? A lot of very obvious actionable points that when you're like in the near fight and, like
you get tunnel vision.
I work 18 hours a day and I measure people and sell shirts all day. I don't honestly have a ton of time to like, I'll take a week to like figure out how we're going to raise money or whatever. Like, honestly, the first time I'm ever pitching in front of an investor will be in the Dragon's Den. That's suicide. That is the dumbest thing you could ever do. But whatever. It'll play great in the book, and the movie. So, anyways, and then they wrote a report, detailing kind of like very detailed action plans and recommendation forward, but then also very specifics, right? Like, you should apply for money at this government program and blah, 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 which obviously I'm not going to do because, you know how I feel about writing applications.
Just to know,
Yeah.
writing applications is hard. There are people that you can hire that will do that. Sorry.
Anyways, very difficult. At least for me personally, but I'm not much of a writer.
Yeah, because you gotta line it up.
Yeah, like people have strengths, people have weaknesses. I'm not a writer. So the so they gave us all that. And one thing they did, they also kind of went really above and beyond the Call of Duty, especially with yesterday. So they all came in the store, and they were the dragons.
Oh, neat.
Right, and Emily couldn't be there.
So you're still engaged with them? Like you're still
totally.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they'd already submitted their final project and everything.
Oh, that's
yeah,
nice,
yeah. No, these guys are brilliant. So, and then I did the spiel, but I did my part and Emily's part, which is also challenging.
How's Emily feel? So Emily is Jeff's wife.
That's right.
How does Emily feel pitching? She good?
She's good. I would say she's better than I am.
Yeah. She's like she definitely thinks different than you. You're the go guy.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And she exactly. And her piece, she's mastered, right? Having said that, if there's if this this is like the Emily section, this is the Jeff section, and they throw a pitch that's like they hit the ball somewhere where it's like no man's land. Right. Like that's me. That's my responsibility. Right. Generally. So I have a little bit more nerves on that.
Like I get it.
Yeah. Well, I got to catch that ball no matter what happens, right? And that's fair enough. Like I signed up for that role, right? Having said that, Em's very capable of bailing me out. But anyways, the point is I gave the pitch or whatever. They just asked me very difficult questions. A lot of them, I have to admit, I was like, jeez.
Damn. And the other guys are going to be worse, man.
Oh, 100%. And that's the idea is to the same thing. Like if you were a boxer, you'd want to spar with opponents probably more difficult than the guy you're actually going to face.
Which sucks.
Of course, yeah. No, I have to get beaten up. And honestly, I'm talking to 4 guys who are essentially friends and good guys, and I was feeling embarrassed, and not being able to answer what felt like, easy questions and that.
Was it like, and these are MBA students, so was it more like, because the math can be hard.
Yeah.
Was it profit margin questions, things like that?
Yeah, really technical questions about the numbers.
And I'm going to be hard on you. You should know that because they're going to ask that. Because that's
why wouldn't you?
Standard 5 investor questions.
Yeah.
How many are you selling? How much are you growing?
They went to a little bit more detail than that, though. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh, yeah, I got revenues, units sold, margins. I'm feeling good about that. And then it's, a little bit more, okay, what were sales like month 7? I was like, Jesus Christ, I have no idea.
Let me ask you a question for our 20 viewers.
Yeah.
So you've watched every episode of Dragon's Den?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll say at least 1 out of 2. I'm sure there's some of the earlier ones.
Nobody watched Kevin and Larry. It's fine. So you watched all the episodes, essentially. What are you going to do different than everyone you've seen? Because you're not going to, I know you're not going to be like, okay, I'm going to walk in there, I'm going to do what everyone else has done that's won. You're going to be like, okay, I'm going to shake it up.
You're absolutely right about that. Okay? I'm going to say for that, you're going to have to watch the episode. There's no way
spoilers,
I'm giving away that bag of tricks. And it is unfortunate because everyone knows I had a very big plan that got ruined because what we were going to do was rent a big coach bus and bring everyone from Fredericton with dangerous shirts onto the set. And we had it lined up, right? And my plan was to come in with 80 people. Imagine us walking down the stairs of the den. It's like the 2 of us go, and then I'm like, hi, I'm Jeff, this is Emily, this is our company, this is our ask, or like that lame kind of thing they make everyone say at the beginning. And then imagine, marching. Everyone's marching down the stairs, and it's like, sorry guys, I can't even speak, because you're not going to hear me, because the dangerous army is marching down the stairs, and then there's 80 people in a shallow U behind us, and it's like, okay, everyone's here. And we'd be like, these people came from Fredericton.
Yeah.
The dangerous movement is here, it's happening, you want to be in, you do not want to be out. Am I right? Am I right? Nux. You see what I'm saying?
All right. So you're on plan B now?
Unfortunately, they capped us at 8 people and a dog. So we're going to have 8 people and a dog, so 10 plus
1.
Plus Cantillon, who's a beautiful, beautiful animal, which doesn't really create the movement effect to the same degree. And that's the challenging part is I think that we have a lot of really intangibles with our brand and our activity and everything we're doing that, it's hard to explain in your 60-second sizzle pitch. They're like, okay, there's shirts. Lots of people have shirts, right? I'm like, Do they?
You know what? I want to touch on that.
Do they?
So
You
like
know?
I was in my head. I was like, well, what's going to keep you competitive? What's going to? And then I thought to myself, and I was like, you know what though? Like those are good questions, but there's also something that you said, and it's important. Like you're the guy out there doing it, right? There's all these people that are kind of like, oh well, you know, this is the limit. It's the same with this podcast, right? Here's your limit of success. I can already see it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, all right, well, tell you what, I'm going to get in there, and once I get in there and climb that mountain, I'm going to see a little further.
Oh, 100%.
I'm gonna know. You know what I mean?
Good analogy. Yeah. No, 100%. And you do get a lot of that, and a lot of people see that and whatever, but, you know, I really do believe 9 times out of 10 that kind of talk is just sort of like substantiation to themselves for not doing something similar. So I don't worry about that. You know, I really need to convey, hey, I have a great, simple, beautiful concept, and I'm the one to lead it.
Yeah.
And you're going to enjoy working with me because I'm arrogant enough to believe that I can do it better than anybody else in the world, but humble enough to take your advice and guidance. And if I can demonstrate, not say that, but if I can demonstrate those human qualities along with the fact that we've had massive success in Fredericton, which, I mean, we could just take the operation literally. I could move to Toronto tomorrow and 10 times my
Blood
success
from a
in
stone,
second.
man.
Exactly. I could be like, hey, look, like, you know, this, like, for most people, it'd be impossible.
60,000 people, right?
Exactly. So I think, I could be like, hey, look, like, I could 10 times, 100 times my success just by moving, which I'm not going to do.
By the way, for copyright infringement in like 10 minutes.
Who cares?
It's just choppy videos. They'll never pick it up.
Cool.
Yeah, Ice. He's got our 6, man. We're good. He's totally good. All right, so here's the deal. I think we're running low on time. That's Dragon's Den. You know, you got questions about Dragon's Den? This is my Facebook. Ask me Facebook. My phone number's all over my website. Just freaking call me.
His voicemail is hilarious.
Yeah.
You better believe.
You better believe it's hilarious. I get told that quite often. So let's end with a quick, what are you doing this weekend? What I'm doing this weekend? Sign off with the folks.
I think I'm going to go to the art battle.
When and where's that?
Tomorrow at 8, I think. That's really all I know. Charlotte Street Art Center. Actually, I know.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So let's do that.
Nice. That'd be a good thing to support.
I'm helping my buddy. So good.
31 minutes.
Okay. He'll be 1 minute, I'll be 1 minute, and then we'll...
Good friend of mine working on the solar project, and I'm really just helping with the math. But he's getting pretty far. So I'm hoping to give him a little bit of help. We're meeting with some accountants this week just to look at some tax questions. So that's kind of my weekend.
Sounds brutal, man. So, yeah.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. Tonight, if folks don't know, Mad Max, Maxime Bernier, is coming to Fredericton. He could potentially be our next premier. I know Nicholas is very excited about that. We're all very excited about that. So I'm going to go to that and certainly listen more what he has to say. He is who I'm supporting. He does own 5 Dangerous Dress shirts and supports us and a lot of local
Who's
businesses.
this? Sorry, I totally missed it.
Maxime Bernier. He's one of the people trying to be the leader of the Conservative parties.
Oh, I'd go watch that. I care about both sides.
Totally. It is tough because you don't want to say that on a podcast. Everyone's like,
I don't care.
What the hell, right?
I'll listen to liberal shit. I'll listen to conservative shit.
Same.
And I'll filter the shit
Same.
I like.
I personally think it's all of our civic duty to be very knowledgeable of all of the 3 major leading parties. And
are we counting the NDP? Or the
I am. I'm counting the NDP party. And, you know, like, let's say the NDP was in power and then there was, like, liberal candidates all vying for a little, like, if they're in your town, you should go see them.
Yeah, totally.
I go see all the candidates.
And I like the third party. Like David Kuhn, man. Like, if you're watching this, David, which you're not, but good job.
He just texted. No. So I'm going to go to that tonight because I think that's going to be great. I think here, of course. No, but because our craft breweries are a big part of the New Brunswick economy and where the New Brunswick economy is going. I know that they got a lot of red tape, there's a lot of issues and stuff, but it's a massive industry and movement in New Brunswick.
Before you sign out on that,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but I
get
excited.
You got a thought.
Somebody was explaining to me that the craft brew industry, so knowing who's making your beer, same with like the local food movement, that's coming back in clothing. And like knowing who's making what you're wearing, where it's coming from, being proud of those local brands.
I believe it's coming back in every single industry, right? Like back in the day, whenever that was, you knew your butcher. You knew who cut your meat. You know what I mean? Now, then it became everyone loves Nike, Coca-Cola, big nation-state corporations, and people trusted in big institutions. And then, by the end of the 80s, a lot of institutions turned out to be very corrupt the bigger they got, and we're kind of figured that out a little bit, but it was like, well, what can you do about it? Right? And they're like, what can you do? I mean, trust in the big guys. And then social media came out, and and little guys could punch, penetrate the marketplace, do things like that, and people could, raid and stuff like that. And then it's like, okay, well, there's this guy in town who, busts his butt at whatever he's doing, or there's this big company that's telling you,